Hello, thank you for watching the presentation and wanting to take part in making our community a better place. What you are about to watch is the live presentation from May 5th, 2019. The footage is raw and real. Because I have eyes, ears, and a brain, I know the presentation could have been executed better. So in light of this, I will be re-recording the presentation and including more detailed information. Before I get out of your way, please be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest updates on what we are doing. Follow us on Facebook at Leavenworth Lansing Community Corners and at Twitter at LVLLCCS. If you have any questions, please reach out through social media or email us at communitycorners.lvll@gmail.com. Once again, thank you and enjoy the presentation.
Awesome. All right, let's do this thing. Okay. Get this set up here, program out, ready to go. And let's move on. Everyone, thank you for coming today. Let me get this music off for you so you can hear me a little bit better. Hopefully, can you guys hear me okay now? Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the cheer. Great crowd. Makes it a lot easier on me that I know each and every one of you. So thank you for coming once again, especially to the Savages, who I think I texted about an hour and a half ago. They made it out, just like they always do. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and stand up and pledge allegiance. I'll start. You can go along with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Be seated. You guys know I'm a JRTC cadet, future U.S. Army soldier. Some of you call me, so something I felt I had to do. But let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, thank you for being here. Today we're going to go over a few different things about what I've been doing over the last month and a half. And some of my high school, I'm just going to introduce myself to you. Not that I really need to, but then I'm going to talk about what Community Corners is. Some of you have this idea that it is just this project. When I first started, I had that idea too, but we're going to expand on it, so I'll talk about that later. After that, we're going to talk about the community. This slide is going to have to look at twice for everything to show up. We're going to talk about what's happening, what needs to change, and then where we're going to get. After that, I'll give a short conclusion, and I'll open it up for questions, which you guys know I love to argue. So please shoot away and give me your best shot. So, who am I? Well, I am a servant, I am a leader, I'm a scholar, I'm an athlete, all in that order specifically. Being a servant leader is really kind of what pushed me into this project, that I saw a need in the community, so I felt I needed to address it. But being a leader, sometimes it can go to your head. We have this poster that hangs up in our JRTC staff office where all the leaders of the battalion are there, and it says, "Leaders don't want to get to your head," and it gives you like 20 different steps on how you have to avoid that. So, been in that office for 2 years. It's a pretty good reminder every day that being a service leader, it's about the people you're going to serve and the people you give to. Just like a lot of the representatives, teachers, and community members that we have here, you guys are all very active and involved, so you understand the importance of this idea and of this focus. So, let's talk about some of the things I do for service. The USD Forces 9 Food Drive, many of you guys have probably participated in it. Over these last 4 years, I've been a part of it too. I've been leading it. We've raised over, I think last year was 14,000, so probably in the range of 25,000 items for those who have need. Lots of stuff at JRTC. Through that, I got junior data leader freshman year. I will be returning to Kansas Boys State this summer as a city councilor, which is a great opportunity to mentor not only young students, but specifically to our state. So it's a really good way to give back. And then I marked off in-house service events. So This is like JRTC service hours, NHS, MEHS, and even doing backpack buddies for Wallula Christian Church and St. Paul's Lutheran down in Leavenworth. Bring it back. As we'll talk about later, businesses getting involved in the community and giving back. I have my foot in a pretty advantageous spot with the Denny family. So for the food drive, we're able to utilize their truck to transport those goods to the location. It's actually right behind their store, so it all worked out for us. Next, we'll talk about leadership. Most of you guys know what I do. It's a list, yes, but I don't put it up there to name out, hey, look at me, I do all these great things. Because what I found through doing this is that it is wholly about the people you serve and mentor. So, my post-high school plans, a lot of you guys know, I'm going to West Point. 5 days of high school left as is now. Also, sorry, Mom, you might want to close your ears for this part. 18 days left until graduation, which is not right because graduation is on the 18th and today's the 5th, so it's 13. Yes, look at the scholar up here with his math. But that's okay. I have a very short and busy summer. Mom, you're really going to want to close your ears for this. 57 days left until our day, so 55 until I leave the United States Military Academy, where I'll be majoring in management with a concentration in public administration. So all the things that I learned there and being in the Army, not only the things I have right now with me, I'll be able to take back out into the workforce and into society and properly apply them and use those skills that I've learned. As a lieutenant, I'm starting moving up through the ranks. But this third part, I was going to list, I kind of copied it off of my resume, and I thought, well, you could put your awards there. That'd be pretty cool. You can talk about all the things you've done and what you've been recognized for. But like I said, it's about the people you serve, and it's about the connections and the relationships you make, whether it be family or friends or whatever it is. That's really what it's about, and that's why we're here. So, Lexi, there you are. I think Angela's trying to help you there. That's what this is about. It's about building those relationships within the community to expand your web and to kind of define who your community is. So we'll go over a few of these pictures to define who my community is. Where do we want to start? We'll start up here at Boise State. This is my city of Isinogle from last year. Built a really good relationship with those guys. And throughout the entire process, I was able to run for Attorney General. Originally, I just wanted to be in the office, but I ended up winning the party's nomination, and then the seat. So that was a pretty cool experience, but I definitely couldn't have done it without help from them and other staters, like Weston and Hunter Vitale, who you guys know is my best friend, who's my inside guy on the press. So again, you kind of talk about those relationships. Some of my friends are in here and ask, well, how do you do it? Well, you didn't do this assignment, you didn't do this assignment, but then you did them late, you still got credit. I said it's about who you know. It's about the work you put in, the things you're doing outside. It's also about who you know. For our few politicians in here, I think you guys can agree with me on that. Family. These are people who have gave me those formative experiences to build me into the people I am today. So if you're here, thank you. On my dad's side, the Williams. On my mom's side, the Denny's. Specifically my Aunt Nicole. I think I've told you this before. You've always been one of my role models. Everything you've been through, and to take those experiences and use it for the good, I think is what a lot of people need to learn how to do. So thank you for being that example for me. Let's talk about athletics, Raider team, tennis team, and swim. Swim again, and then we'll wrap this into athletics. It's a fun group activity. It's important to be out and active in your community, but to do that, you got to be in shape. Keep up appearances. Personally, I believe if you can handle the physical stress, you can handle the mental stress. I just saw Ty got a nudge there, so maybe we need to hit the gym together sometime. That's okay. Service, giving back to the community. One of those ways I do that is through JRTC. So this is the time picture from the end of last year. And Ks and KS, the Kansas Association for Youth, which is a service organization where we are in the schools. Both Lansing finally has just one program instead of two. I think Mr. Cackler finally got that nailed down. And then Leavenworth High School, they also have a Ks program. So it's a few good opportunities to go and really just get more opportunities, because that's what it's about. So I get this question a lot in the halls from my friends. What is the Community Corners project you do? It's a good question. When I first started, I didn't know. But I'm going to take you through my thinking process of how I got to where I am today, and how I originally came up with this idea. So the idea itself was pretty simple. I'm a part of this community that we call a gifted program here at Lansing High School, and it's a community. You take a test and they tell you you're smart, basically. So you get to be in this community. I saw a gasp from Miss Ray. She could probably explain it later on better. But that's a little bit about it. I think Drew gets it too. So that's it. So I get this very cool opportunity where if I had an empty hour in my schedule, because I may be taking an AP class here and an AP class here, and it just doesn't quite fit together, as if I was just taking gen ed classes, I can go to the gifted room and I can do an advanced study. So this advanced study, I can look into anything I want to, and do basically whatever I want to, as long as it's focused, and it's going to be productive in my learning process and experience. So we tried this out, and meine Deutsch ist nicht so gut, which means my German is not so good, because we tried that for about a year and a half. It just wasn't working out. So I came in this semester, and I took into things into consideration, the recent events, and these events aren't just here locally, but nationwide too, is kind of what shaped my ideas here. So things like the Me Too movement and police brutality, kind of those formative events where you see communities are really being challenged in their ideas and beliefs, and change that's happening, and people who are resistant to change. That's kind of how I got my mind focused on this project. But with recent events, you also have to take into consideration history. So, those of you who know me, I'm also a little bit of a history buff. So I understand when things like this happen and the time we're in, the advantages and disadvantages and opportunities that my generation has, that your generation once had, and that the generations after mine are going to have, and how we need to keep and preserve these. And I think that way is through community. I also took into consideration some other things, like the political landscape. No matter what side of the aisle you're on right now, it's not looking so hot. Or maybe that's a problem. Maybe it is too hot. I don't have to say much more. I think people in here get it. Or if you're standing in the middle of the aisle, you tend to get run down by the clash between the two. So I took that into consideration along with my interest in business and what I want to do with that. So that's why this, you'll notice the project is really focused like a business. So if you're an interviewee, all the emails you got, the reminder, the follow-up, questions before, things like that. I have my own business card. I think that was maybe honestly the coolest thing about this. I have my own business card. I get to hand out and say, hey, look at me. But then there are a few other things. So it's a really cool thing that a lot of you are experiencing and have been experiencing for quite a while. This is adulthood. I was a month after my 18th birthday, so you kind of start to wake up and go, hey, wow, things are going to change. And you get a lot of responsibilities. Like West Point is a good example of having to sign everything myself. And I don't think my mom signed a single paper, which kind of puts the idea that it's all on you now. I see Emily shaking her head back there too. Probably same idea for the Air Force Academy. We're sorry about that, but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, so from that we got community corners. And I got this really cool logo because I get to work with this really cool person every Thursday. And her name is Miss Sharon Burns. She's sitting in the back. A lot of you probably know her. But her son actually made this for me. I had an idea, and it was like this much, and this much. And I knew I wanted a handshake in there and community corners in there. That was it. So when I gave him that idea, he came back to me. He said, you're bringing these two cities together, really. So we put both cities' logos, so Lansing and Leavenworth. We have red to represent Lansing, blue to represent Leavenworth. Individual connections in those communities that are working and happening. And then everything comes to close, and you're able to connect those two sides. So another part of it, you have to be a little bit creative to get this one. So you have Lansing, which is L, you have Leavenworth, which is LV. So you have two upside down L's and a V. That's originally how it started. It looked terrible. We just could not figure out a font. So thank God somebody who's way more creative than me had this opportunity to put it together. So that's how we got there. So I said it's a business, and we run it like a business, which means we have a mission statement, we have a vision statement. The mission statement is going to be something that's going to focus me right now on what we're doing, and our vision statement is how do we want this to look in the future, and what is kind of the legacy we want to live on. So, I don't know if you can read it, I'll read it for you. To connect people within the Leavenworth Lansing communities and encourage citizens and leaders to become more actively involved, because when we get to this call to action, it's going to be that. I'll give it to you right now. It's getting more involved. So that's what we're focusing on. The vision statement, similar, but we had to skew off a little bit. So it's to challenge established and new community leaders to be actively involved, to stay true to the people and values they serve. So that we're looking at a more general scale. So if we ever do expand outside of Leavenworth and Lansing, it applies to everyone. And I think we see a lot of that coming to fruition with things ramping up in 2020. We see a lot of established leaders and new leaders coming out of the woodworks. That's a good thing. Another good example of challenging some of these new leaders is we start with a lot of passion when we first get into office. We'll get these things and we'll kind of trail off. And I've noticed that even in my battalion commandership, which I think Cody can probably honestly equate to. Yeah, I see the head shake over there. So you have to be aware of that. So that's what a lot of this project is being aware of what's going on, and not necessarily having a plan, but being able to get with a group of like-minded individuals, or individuals who share two completely different beliefs, and stay at the table until you've reached that agreement. Because nothing gets done when you walk away from the problem's still there. Chances are it'll get worse. So, when I started Community Corners, I knew I would be on the stage. I knew exactly what we would be doing, kind of. But I knew I wanted to end in a presentation, which is why all of you guys are here. Advanced advertisement. I think I first talked to you simply about it. I said I knew I wanted to end in either a paper or a presentation. So for those of you who know me, it was definitely going to be the presentation all along. I write well, I don't like to write. Zach, you don't have to share that with this book. So, the idea of the project, which is really, go back to that very question we started with. What is Community Corners? It's how we're going to find out what's going on within the community, what needs to change, how we're going to change it, how we're going to get there, and what it might look like at the end. So you can lump that last part into where we're going. The interviews started end of February. March was a pretty busy time for me. I think I was gone almost every weeknight to do an interview, a lot of them in the morning. Thursday mornings, I think definitely had like 2 each week. There was one Friday I had off. In between that Thursday and Friday, I think I did 8 interviews. So that was pretty cool. But what does this look like? Who did I contact? Who did I ask? So I contacted all these leaders and representatives in the community. And having lived here and grown up my whole life, you already know who those people are. And if you just do a little bit more research, you really open up your possibilities. So I made this original list of, I think, 50 people, and by the end of it, I've expanded to 65 people to interview. And by the time we're done with it, I've done 36 interviews. So some numbers for you. But yeah, it took a lot. So I talked to educators, and I'll pull up examples and all the pictures you've seen on social media of these educators. One, like I said, is my aunt. She's a social worker at Anthony and Lawson. That kind of gives you that perspective of some of the lower income areas and children that are affected by all these problems that we see happening in the community. Then I was also to have the chance to interview with the USD 469 School Board President Jeff Martin. So again, you're kind of seeing the higher side of education in this community, differences between household incomes and how it's going to affect education. So that's kind of some of the topics we talked about there. And government leaders and representatives. Jermaine Wilson, see Mayor Mike Smith was shaking his head over there. He is kind of the guy of the community right now. And somebody who people have always been able to rally behind, and somebody who people can get behind even more so now. So he's doing some pretty cool things in Leavenworth that we might talk about. This guy sitting down here in the second row, Todd Thompson, county attorney. And together, the two of them have already done some pretty cool things and are doing some cool things that we'll talk about too. Business leaders, Brandon Johannes, he's the president of the Leavenworth Lansing Chamber of Commerce. Grandma. Yeah, I had the chance he came here to interview. And then Derek Zeck, who I think they are the second or third largest employer within the county, aside from the school districts. So 2 different perspectives that I get to talk with. But you notice the backgrounds specifically of these pictures, how more in the school for one of them. We did a lot here, but I also had the opportunity to go out and to actually get into the community and to get involved, sort of say hands-on with the people leading it. Fun fact about this interview, it was after a city council meeting. We planned to meet there at 8, I was there at 8. When I got there, the city council meeting was still going on. So we waited. I think we started that at 8:45 on a Wednesday night. We didn't get out of there until about 9:30. So that's just some of the things that I got to do to kind of experience a business-like feel, a business owner feel to this project. When I talked with Brandon about the project, to Andrew Cameron, who's a grad of Lansing, opened Daily Donuts here and all over, and has now founded Donutology KC. It's a pretty cool place. You should check it out. But anyways, one of the biggest things they talk about, were all the late nights and all the things that people don't see that happen behind the scenes and what goes on. So that experience was one of those ones where I was like, man, it's like 9:30. I should be doing homework for your mom. I love doing homework. Or I should be in bed, which I also love doing. So, but no, I was out doing that. So that's a pretty cool thing I got to experience. So, these interviews, you got to ask questions, go through the motions about where everyone was born and raised, and how that had an effect of got to where they are today. So again, focusing on that community field. So a list of interviewees, I'm going to read off real quick. If you're here, you can stand up so I can show my gratitude to you. But Keith Lasker, Robin Kill, Ray Schneider, Derek Stuffenby, Jeff Martin, Holly Pittman, Jeff Pittman, Mike Griswold, Nancy and Eddie Stinney, Steve Wayman, Debbie Deere, Richard Johannes, Chet Shimke, Randy Baker, Todd Thompson, Zach Coleman, Jermaine Wilson, Pat Kitchens, Kevin Braun, David French, Andrew Cameron, Ron Baker, Dean Moberg, Sister Diane Steele, Mike Smith, Derek Zeck, Ronald Miller. Cool thing about Ronald Miller, he is the U.S. Marshal for the state of Kansas. It's pretty cool. I met him at a Great Plains Youth Leadership Conference over spring break. Continuing the list, Randy Brown, Debbie Ryan, Hunter Battalion, David Young, Cole McConnell, Scott Fox, and Andrew Dedeke. So, a pretty diverse list of names that you get to see. And even from aspects of, we have citizens like Hunter and Scott. Scott is the referee coordinator for youth soccer in the area, so he's my boss. I guess if I had to say I had one, besides my mom. I don't know how that works anymore because I'm 18, but we'll see. Or Hunter, who we all know is very involved within the community. We're kind of partners in crime, if you say. He's actually not here because he's in D.C. But my next best buddy, Drew Clint, is right at the back. He's pretty involved too. A lot of you guys know, for better or worse, I guess. Yeah, there we go. Got the new guy over there laughing. It's okay. So like I said, we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about the community and what's going on. So a few larger aspects that play into this are looking at Leavenworth, and looking at kind of how old or new or young, whatever you want to call it, each city is. Leavenworth is first in everything. First bank in Kansas, first city in Kansas, first high school in Kansas, first JRTC program in Kansas. The motto at the high school is first in everything we do. So it's all first. You come to Lansing, there's not a whole lot of that. So you get to see the comparison there and just how the two cities see themselves and their historical significance that way and how that plays into their identity. So you take an area like Leavenworth, historical downtown area, and when you get ideas like, do we want to update K7? Do we want to make it a high-speed highway? You get the downtown area, you hit a problem because you have a lot of those historical roots, historical downtown itself. It's all historical underground. It's a pretty cool thing there. So you have a lot of different things. So you get a lot more resistancy to change there. Whereas in Lansing, you have a lot of new things coming in, or at least trying to talk about downtown. Lansing is not really known for its business, which is, in this case, not a good thing. So that's something we're looking to change. We'll get to later on. When we talk about the income of people in the area, it plays into some of those resources that people have access to. I was talking with Pittman's, we talked about 5 minutes outside of the downtown area in Leavenworth, your average household income is like $38,000, which I think is under the minimum wage, give or take. We're close to it. Where if you go across the street here in Lansing, you go over to the ridge, you're looking at an average household income of about $90,000. So difference there. And then we talk about what we're going to change and what we're going to do. Leavenworth, we have a lot harder options we have to look for because it's landlocked. You have the river to the east, federal land like the fort to the north, nothing out west, but you're locked there, and then you got Lansing, this little brother to the south. Whereas Lansing is a very different story. We're only landlocked north, basically. We have all these rooms go out west, and we go south. So when we talk about expanding businesses, things like that, or education, how we can expand the high school out to here. And looking at education, some of the things that are available there, we have population. You look at Leavenworth High School, it was the most populated. And then over time, you've seen a downgrade from 6A down to 5A, to kind of a 6A by 4 people, I think, this year. So I think really can affect athletics and activity within the high school. But they're up on the rise again. When you look at Lansing, which is virtually nothing, 1A, 2A, 3, 4. We're at 5 right now because we're on the up. And like I say, we're on the up and up. So I think the enrollment's up, which is good. Facilities, Lansing just got through a new program, they just got through the old program, the 10-year plan to update facilities, which I think is pretty okay, in comparison. But you also look at Leavenworth, new facilities there, like the stadium, expanding out. And then really what you want to look at is the curriculum. Lansing has a very good general education curriculum, which you see which attracts a lot of new families, a lot of families from Fort, too, for education that way. But you also see Leavenworth is starting to catch up in that area. And Leavenworth outweighs Lansing right now in these top 2 areas right here. AP classes offered. We've seen students transfer out of Lansing to go to Leavenworth because we have more opportunities that way offered. So if they want to spend less money in college and they want to do the hard work now, they have that option. Or they can go to the Pioneer Career Center, which both schools are partnered at, but Leavenworth hosts. Has a little bit more options there. They can go out to Kansas City for the KCC experience, which we believe here at Lansing we're expanding next year, right? Yeah. So those are all good things happening and going on. Next, we'll look at extracurricular opportunities. For me, my big one, obviously, is JRTC and everything you can do there. We talked about some of the citizenship skills you can get, which is another kind of formative experience for me to get in this mindset and get focused, to be here today, basically. And then we'll talk about the rivalries. And sports, which has always been close. I don't know if we have any business interviews in here. I brought it up with Mayor Mike Smith, and we talked about, in sports it's okay to be rivals, but even at the end of it, you realize how close the 2 cities are. You're able to see relationships there. Like for me, in swim, and I think both the girls and the guys teams, respectively, across cities are very close. Most of them swim for riptides, or sea lions, or on post the lancers. So when you break down the school, you see a lot of people who know each other across. And I think Weston can talk about that too all day. And the pictures you see in the paper after a rival swim meet, but it's both teams in the pool arm in arm together like that. So that's a pretty cool thing you get to see. And when we talk about the rivalry between the 2 cities and between the people and the mindsets, and if it even really is 2 cities anymore, or if it is one community. So we look at government aspects of this. There are new changes at all levels. If you go to the high state level, Kansas has always been seen as this, I don't want to say deep red state, but it's a red is red state. And even if you're blue in this state, you're red, if you know what I mean, more or less. So we have a new energy there. We're starting to see more blue come in, which is forcing Republican, red is Republican, blue is Democratic. So we're seeing more push from Democrats and Democratic ideas, and then we're also seeing resistance and push, and it's kind of a want to adapt to the curve from Republicans at state levels there. Down to the local level, a big thing to give me 5, so putting 5 county commissioners on the board, which I think you could, if you had to take a vote, you would say it almost passed unanimously, which is a cool thing to do when you see representation spread out across the county. A big question that I asked in these interviews was, is there 2 different mindsets between the city and county? And what we found out was, yeah, there is. So when you start to bring more input from the cities and from the people in the cities, you can start to see that change. So, business and how business grows. This is probably the biggest point of the presentation of how the 2 cities are going to learn to work together and learn to grow together. It has to be through business. A good example of that is the Leavenworth Lansing Chamber of Commerce. So it's based in Leavenworth. It's definitely representative of 2 cities. It brings all those ideas and programs together. So when I talked about Brandon, I think we did have the longest interview on record for me, which I think was close to almost 2 hours. We got to talk about business. There's some moaning and groans. To some of you, yeah, it is moaning and groaning. But to me, that's pretty interesting because that's what's going to help us grow. When you talk about Lansing to attract new businesses, whenever I talk to business owners specifically from Lansing, I mentioned the business park or the town center behind Sonic between 2 banks, and how I had this hope and promise, and things fall through. But that's okay because we know we're doing a lot at the city level to attract new businesses and to grow some of the businesses that are here. So another good program that I originally thought was part of the Chamber of Commerce was they did the exact same thing. Was Main Street, and so I learned a little bit more about Main Street through Holly Pittman and Brandon Johannes, and that it really isn't 2 different things. Main Street is focused on the downtown aspect, specifically to those brick and mortars down there. And Main Street also has government funding, which the Chamber does not. So the Chamber is they're not for profit, but they're more so their own business than anything. So that's a cool thing where I talked about the branding coming together between the 2 and figuring out something there. Talked about downtown Leavenworth a lot. The areas for growth there, which is something that we're going to have to expand on, but also come together. I think I saw a petition on Facebook the other day about taking semi-trucks off that highway there because we're destroying the roads there, which are small and crammed up already as it is, and everything under it. And so it's really about different community ideas and get-togethers about problems we're seeing happen, where we start to see change there from that petition. And then talk about, for Lansing, the approaching Kansas City area and the legends, and how that detracts business from Lansing. Because people say, well, why do I want to build a store in Lansing where I can just go to the legends? It's closer to everyone. But in Lansing, as a community and as an administration, we have to step up our game to attract some of those businesses. Because when you bring in businesses, you bring in obviously more tax revenue, which takes the burden off of our citizens. It gives us more resources for schools, public works, things like that. But even with the encroaching area, there's still room for growth in Lansing. So, the main idea I've come to develop through this experience, and an idea that I didn't have when I started this, I got through an interview actually. Someone proposed it to me, and I said, you know what? It's a great idea. I don't know why I haven't thought about it. You can agree or disagree. This is something we can talk about at the end, hopefully. When I say Leavenworth or the Leavenworth area, do you think of, and you can raise your hand, if you think of just Leavenworth or just Lansing or the two as one? So just Leavenworth, just Lansing, two as one. Simple enough. So, problems that we're seeing in this area, problems that need to be addressed, problems that are working to be addressed. Mental health is a big one. I talked to leaders in this area who are on that board. Holly, what's it called? The guidance center is there. There's a new board. Yes. Awesome. So there's a new task force at the county level to kind of address this problem. The things that we see here, and I got to talk with Patrick Kitchens, who is the police chief of Leavenworth, about how this affects the safety of the citizens and then the safety of those individuals. So one thing we talked about is when they do get a call to bring someone in for these, and how if there are no resources within the area, we have to kind of outsource and take them somewhere else. The exact city he talked about, but it was about an hour and a half away. So when we get somebody like that, because we don't have beds for them at the Justice Center or anywhere else within the county, we have to take them out. So that's a 3-hour drive, which has got to pay 2 officers to take to escort this person. And have to stay down there for trials and then processing things. It's not just a one-time trip, it's multiple times. So some of the areas that we see affected there, big ones, mental health. Some people have raised questions about homelessness and how that plays into mental health, and how the homeless shelter has attracted more homeless people, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. Homelessness is something that all people or all cities face. You don't see it as much here because it gets cold in the winter. Where rather if you go to Texas, Florida, California, things like that, you see a lot more. But I got to talk with Kitchens about homelessness and how this plays in, and how he warned everyone. Not warned, but he told them, hey, if you bring this shelter, you're going to get some. They're going to influx, and over time they'll weed out. And those who really want this will stay and get the help that they need. So another problem I've been talking about is attracting businesses and what we can do there. And then the next one, which might be the biggest one, is the community mindset and this human nature of resistance to change, or even at that, some things we can talk about are laziness, or saying, oh man, this is a problem, I'll just go home at dinner and talk about it, and maybe something will happen. It's not. Nothing's going to happen if you don't do something. So that mindset that we're trying to change there is to get up out of your seat and do something that goes way back to that mission. We're talking about encouraging citizens and representatives to get into this. So how can we change? That last point right there, community mindset. That's how you change. One of the last questions I always ask is how can I ask these leaders and representatives, how do you propose that other people get involved within the community? And really, it's a question, but it's not a question, because the answer is to get involved, is to find a passion, It doesn't matter what, or where, or who, or what you're passionate about. You have to find it and let the passion drive you to get involved with that activity or area. So, what's next for the area? Move back here. The choice is yours. It's about the community, and it's about if the community wants to step in or not, which is kind of why I started this project in the beginning. Yeah. Okay. So that is more or less it. Not that that's it, but that's what it was. We'll take questions at the end, but first I'd like to give out a few special thanks. Again, to Ms. Burns. She's been my mentor on this project, and she is the executive director for the Lansing Educational Foundation. So if you don't know, they have their annual awards breakfast Friday. So she was throughout this week and on before planning that and very involved with that. Even still found time to not only live her own life and manage her own activities and her kids, because she's the mom of 4, right? But she still has kind of taken me in and helped me in this project and works with me for an hour to 2 hours every Thursday morning on this project. Who I don't know, sent countless emails back and forth asking me questions, dumb or smart, but thank you. Next to Ms. Hinkley and Dr. Platt for just creating that environment inside the classroom, and to Ms. Ray before that for starting that environment here at the high school and in the district. To Brian, who is Ms. Burns' son, if you catch the last name there, who made the logo. To Brandon Johannes for kind of introducing me to the whole business aspect of the community and what it's like. Holly, who I think is an example of we can all try to be like and get involved with activities and really be the go-to. Holly also for promoting this event and putting it out on your page. The high school here for offering this opportunity, so Mr. McKim, thank you. Thank you for letting me bring people into the high school to interview. So without that, I think we'd have about half of it. Mr. Brown, who's not here, but I think I missed his class like 3 times in a row because I had interviews going on over. It's AP stats, so it kind of sucks, but get over it. And also, he was one of my interviews. The Leavenworth High School, they let me make some announcements and put stuff up for offering that JHC program, which is right there, to Exchange Bank and Trust, helping with advertising. So did Lansing High School, put it out on the board, just saw a cool live feed I did. To my interviewees, thank you for sitting down and talking with me and being open to those questions, some of which could be challenging. Today's produce, Grandma and Grandpa, thank you. They were my pilot interview that I got to run through, that I will run through again with. And then to everyone who's here, family and friends, thank you for supporting me throughout this project. Questions? Thanks, man.
When you were talking to the food city and the official, was there anything that caught your attention about the possible negatives?
So positively, between the two, I think you are the answer to this, is that relationship that is unusual to see develop between 2 city mayors, like the one you have with Mayor Wilson, kind of that mentorship there. When I talked to Mayor Wilson about how he got involved into politics or to representing, Mayor Smith was a big part of it, taking him under his wing and kind of being there right from the start and pushing him to be better. So But definitely that relationship between the two, because a lot of you guys you can talk and communicate whatever you want with ideas, and that when you come together, it's not this clash, but it's a cohesion of ideas. And that brings. Any other questions? Yes.
What are your next steps for your conversation and research?
So next steps for conversation and research. I'm developing, I guess I skipped over that, so thanks. The development of community corners, it's not just the project, but rather now we've transformed, as you'll see in that brochure, flyer, the program you have in front of you, where it's a student organization now. We're student-led and run, operated. Right now there are 2.5 of us who are putting things together. Morgan Bearhaven, if you know the name, and Darby Mance have also joined me. So we're putting on another event hosted by Community Corners. Planned for the 11th, we're pushing it back to the 25th for the graduation and things. But we're reaching out to the local schools for thank you letters that we can give to first responders because I'm crazy stupid and an athlete. We're going to march from the high school here throughout both cities to each and every first responding station, pass the letters out that way. So it's about 20 miles, I think, in total that we plan to do one day. We're going to get the community involved by reaching out to different organizations within it to sponsor lengths of that run. So like if the Raider team sponsors the run, then we have our rucksack and then all the letters go in, and then the Raider team or somebody representing the Raider team will carry the bag for that part of the run, and so on and so forth. So those are some things we have coming up, but we'll keep everybody updated on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah. Jeff?
The survey across a lot of communities are going to give advice, but when you're interviewed, did you see it take a temperature on the importance of education across the communities?
Yeah, definitely. So across the two, is definitely the biggest thing, and in smaller communities like these two, what you see is everything evolves around education. So whether you're looking at poverty, what you're really looking for is education, how to get out of that situation. Or if you're looking at kids in the schools, not only are you covering curriculum and basic education, you're covering opportunities for growth and extracurricular programs that are letting these kids expand on their talents, grow and gain and be seen from people outside of the community, but also people inside the community come together and support these events too. So yeah, there's definitely, across the board, there's a focus and importance on education.
I have to leave, but I just want to let you know how proud I am of you. And you now, I think, who's interviews and who's requests and knowledge, have no more than the average citizen, I think. And for you to present this in such a well-done manner, that's awesome. And I just want to congratulate you on your appointment. And I think you should give a round of applause because
Any more questions? Yes. I'd like to see go. I think that's one question that we're still trying to answer between the two. So I don't know what I would like to see happen between the two. And this is what I said, you can agree or disagree, or we can talk about it. As you throw out the word consolidation, and people hate the word, it kind of has a negative connotation to it. But is there really a need for 2 school boards or 2 police forces or 2 city halls or 2 this and that? Across the board, we're already seeing some of that cohesion that's happening already. So when we talk about policing forces, the police station here in Lansing at City Hall, they don't have any holding cells. When they in-cross somebody or anything, everybody in the county goes to the Justice Center. I'm talking about school boards. They are pretty similar, and the focus there should be along the same line, especially when we have kids who are jumping back and forth between school districts depending on where they live that year or who they're staying with. It needs to be brought closer together, I think. Bob?
What was the biggest thing that's surprising?
You know, I can't say that I was surprised really by too much, having been here. Some of the questions have pretty predictable answers, but the thing that surprised me a lot was the room for growth, the potential that people saw within Lansing. When I asked people, at the end I asked them for, what's one word that you think describes the area? They got a lot of home, family, community. We also got a lot of opportunity, expanding, and never changing, things like that. Especially what I saw from people who are more Lansing oriented and Lansing focused. A lot of the focus there was growth and opportunity. So I'd say that. Mr. Trackler.
Should have known I was going to ask this, but how do I help you get more kids involved, or do you need more kids involved, or how does that piece work?
Yeah, so I'm still figuring it out because this has all been a very fluid process. But when I know, I'll let you know. Yes, sir. Right, so I'm gone in 57 days, right? So I kind of have to pick a replacement. I'm going to have to fill in there, which is maybe partly why I invited the Savages. But we'll see how that works out. No, at Leavenworth, through the RTC program, I'm exposed to a lot of leaders across all levels and grade levels, specifically. Even being active within the high school here through sports, we get exposed to a lot of those leaders. So looking into some of those students and offering it and seeing if they're involved. And I've had questions and offers already from some juniors and sophomores of, hey, how do I get involved? How do I be a part of it? So. Yes, yeah. Yeah, so I think you, Mr. and Mrs. Diggs, right? Awesome. Yeah, so I think you guys are probably the people here who know me least, which is okay. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that I was able to reach out into the community and pull you guys here. But yeah, I spend probably almost the same amount at Lansing that I do Leavenworth for my companionship there. Yes, Ms. Deere.
You have picked what is one takeaway for you as
It's about the people. When it comes down to the end of the day, I used to be really into like national politics and seeing in Washington. Oh, that's cool. And you see Secretary so-and-so said this or Representative so-and-so said this. More or less at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they say in Washington. It matters what happens here and at the local level and how that affects everybody here. Because the people here complaining are not in Washington. Everyone who's in Washington, they're complaining within their bubble. They're complaining to themselves, more or less. Because the people down on the ground in Kansas and then Missouri and wherever else, they're seeing the problems and they're being affected by it.
So with my other side of my head, I think, okay, where would I
So I reached out to some people at Fort Leavenworth, and one of my interviews actually sits on the board of their schools for Fort Leavenworth. And one of the things we talked about is even in Leavenworth, when we talked about Leavenworth, really talk about Fort Leavenworth also at the same time. So that was one way there. Then what was the other thing you said? Religious things, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at first I kind of focused more on not so much, and then towards the end when we started getting offers and ideas about that. So moving forward, we'll see more there. But I did have the opportunity to interview Sister Diane Steele at the University of St. Mary's. So in that aspect, she's a pretty big leader. So I also got to talk about the Sisters of Charity, Catholic Charities of Lebanon too. Yeah, ask away, ask away. Yeah, so did I interviewed, which is actually a really cool experience for me. I like criminal justice, and I like criminal justice reform, so to say. I did a final on it last year, and I got to interview Warden Ron Baker at the Lansing Correctional Facility, so I got to see some of the construction that's going on there. But you're right, I didn't mention it. And I didn't mention it because it is the understanding in this community that, it happens and it goes on, but we don't talk about it. Which is something I need to do better next time, because I think that's the idea we're trying to get away from. And it's very good point. Yes?
So Jeff kind of mentioned some potential gaps in maybe people you didn't interview, but was there any one person or somebody from a particular organization you wanted to that you just didn't want someone?
So, yeah, I reached out to what we call the higher echelon of government. Both senators, the governor, those kind of cool people to interview, I think would be cool to get out to. But also here locally at the fort, it'd be cool to talk to some of the garrison commanders, people there. No further questions. Awesome. Thanks so much for being in the audience. Thanks for sitting here and listening to me ramble on. It's 3:10. I went longer than I thought I was going to. I'm sorry. If you want to, we're going to extend the social period. There's lots of food out there that you got to eat that I don't want to take home and eat. But my mom doesn't want to take home, or my grandma, or everybody. So you got food out there. You can take it or eat it. And I'll be out there after this too. So if I get a chance to say hi or thanks beforehand, I can go ahead and do that now. So thank you guys.